Welcome to another Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. Welcome to another session of Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. There is nobody like God. Nobody like the Most High. Nobody like the Lord. Nobody. There's no other being that you could even think of creating your imagination that is as great as the creator of all things. We here, World of Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday. Again, we welcome you. We thank you for coming. We know that, hey, we're here for the rise of the African, our social media Pan-African movement that brings all Black folk together as one people, one family, one unit for the purpose of you understanding the God in you and the God outside you, and so that you know how to better interact inside the world around us. And so, welcome to World of Keebler Inspirational Sunday. Excuse me for the tongue tie. This month is my church's anniversary month, and so there will be no me without the PAOCC, Pan African Orthodox Christian Church of the Shrines of the Black Madonna. Look, uh, yeah. uh, my roots in spirituality started with my mama, my grandmama, but then the growth of the tree in which I am, the fruit that I've become, came from this particular program, this institution, this spiritual experience. However you want to define it, um, this is it for me. And so we're celebrating our church anniversary now. I've been tying everything into what we've been doing as a, what they talk about as a church, and they talking about getting back to our revolutionary roots. And so we've been discussing that for a minute, but we said we're going to take a look at the past. And usually in anniversaries, when we're dealing with anniversaries, yeah, we're looking at the past, looking at what we've been through. We're applauding the journey, and then we take a vision, forward, as also as we take a look at what's happening now. And if you ever join us on our Woke Wednesdays classes, where we talk about the development of our program on the inside, and that's in a Zoom class on the inside. You get the details of the history. You get the details of the classes, the lessons, the sessions. You get everything. And I'm here, World of Akibalan is in the process of taking that adult information and transferring it to a younger generation so that you could understand who the God is in you, and being able to, every time you see somebody that looks like, that this is you interacting with you. Yeah, it's a powerful, powerful piece. And so we're always in the process of creating uh classes and sessions. And I know I got to get up on my game, but if you are watching us via Facebook, they had us in Facebook jail for a while. So we need you to like, comment, and share. We still got how many more days left before we completely out. And so also, if you're looking at us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and a notification bell. So that way, anytime we are streaming live, you are getting notified on what we're doing. We have a new show coming up called Transformations. This is going to be powerful. It's going to be taking those, and these are going to be not the kid classes, but if you got an advanced teen, they need to be in these conversations, and they need to be looking. We're going to be bringing new members in to have these dialogues. So y'all be ready for the transformation class. Now, I want y'all to know everything that we do is based off of the ancient covenant promise we have with the Creator. He said, I will be your God if you will be my people. And that means there's something that we have to do, being a people God of God. And there's the two things that we got to follow: loving God with all thy heart, mind, soul, and thy strength, and thy brother as thyself. See, in that, there's nothing with you taking care of you for the sake of you. That's not how God works. And so I can't, always sit down and say and be clear that what you're doing is for the greater good of the people. And those who are spiritual can sit down and know this and say this. You know, what you do for you is not always for the greater good of the people. The two most greatest commandments that God says is love your God with all the heart, mind, and soul, and thy brother as thyself. That's what makes the covenant promise manifest in our daily lives. And so it's based off of relationships, definitely based off of relationship. And that's our relationship with God, our relationship with our ancestors, those who have gone before us, our relationship with each other, our relationship with Mother Earth, and our relationship with those who are coming after us. We bear a responsibility of creating something for those to come behind us and create. And in the process of uh, uh, the anniversary month, we're always acknowledging those who are gone before, those who have sacrificed, who understood that this is a journey for us to become a people of God, a deep people of God in a relationship. And so this is a continuity, and I always say that we're not doing something that hasn't been done since the dawn of time, since the beginning of the first African walking this planet, giving God praise through worship and action, thanking him for the existence that the higher level of consciousness gave me consciousness, made it flesh so that I can engage with other consciousness of God, and we could be a people. So that continuity, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna extend that level of continuity, because we're gonna talk about it, because in our anniversary, we are thanking those who sat down and said, I see something greater than myself. I connect to something greater than myself, and I'm moving forward to build something for my people. And so when I transition over as an ancestor, and you're seeking wisdom, and I'm there for you. I'm an angel. You can call on me. And so in every generation of since we've been on this planet, of an African people, has always been a need to have a more powerful generation coming after. And so the topic today is, here comes a new generation. Black youth, the change the world is waiting for. Black youth, the change the world is waiting for. Now, we know about COVID. We've been dealing with COVID. We've been dealing with the trauma of social distancing. We've been dealing with the issues of illness. We've been dealing with the issues of social distancing and separation. And now slowly the world is coming back together. We've been dealing with the issues of economic limitations, where the world is not as profitable for families as it used to be. Some people's jobs was it COVID proof or pandemic proof, and so we had some families struggling, some people needing community. And then I know, even in my community, and I stated to a lot of people that, hey, we lost some community in this process. And so in that space, you look into what I say is, and this is from the beginning of time, where people were trying to be community, or what we call nation, a nation under God, a nation under God, a people unto God. And so when you have a people moving, they said God is always going to look in your heart, because you can say something and it sound good, but it's not in your heart. You can have an intention, right? But no one knows why you're doing something. But only God can see your heart. And it is written, they say that God will grant your heart's desire. So when you start looking around things, and you looking around you, and things are not doing well, and you really want to desire something greater, but you desire something greater for the sake of selfishness. God has said God is going to give you a a harvest for the seed you sow. He never said what type of harvest, but it's your seed. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a good harvest. It could be a bad harvest. So if you sow the wrong seed, you're going to get the wrong thing. So whatever's in your heart, that's where your seed is planted. It's right in there. Because what you feel, that passion it's what's in there. So he knows when it's selfishness, and he knows when it's true purity. It's true. And so what we say is, God is looking into the heart of a people. Mm. Why? Because we said that we need a generation that obeys. And there's a song that we've always sing that said, there's a generation that should obey. Where we're going to give God what God deserves in us. And when we give God what he deserves in us, God will give us what is our heart's desire. And since the beginning of time, you know what I mean? And we've given God praise through all the good things. And that's how you have these great African empires. That's how Africa as a nation, and the cultures in Africa as a nation, has influenced every non-African people, because of what was in our hearts. and what we created as a people. And it was multiple cultures there before the engagement of Eurocentric societies. There was a people that was under God, and we were able to be great. And that's why you see certain things in history that have n- has have not been duplicated, but they're trying. So we said there's coming a generation here that in our hearts we're asking for a younger generation to come behind us. This is why we drop these seeds that come from our hearts. Now, we do have, and I'll sit down and say, we do have some disgruntled youth because of however it was translated, what was in the hearts didn't translate out as love for our people. Mm. But we have been a movement for the last 69 years to develop a generation that functions under a higher state of consciousness. Mm. We're trying to get back to the original royalty and glory of the African genotype. And that's the African gene, the African level of intelligence and wisdom and understanding. If you look around, there is nothing that is in this world that did not come from us. And so we want to get back to a generation that is fully endowed, or endowed mean it's just all in you. You can't help but function from a higher frequency, a higher level of thinking. You're the smartest being on the planet because your people are directly connected to God. Mm, this way, so you see me go up. And then we're not even looking up. Let's just look this way. Let's look out. Out. Why? Because God is not up. God is not down. God is all around. And connecting into that consciousness. This is the rise of the African in you. It's getting you to that higher level of consciousness so that you can understand the God inside you and the God inside everyone that looks like you. God said, I will make you a nation of priests and prophets, and that and everybody else will be blessed by. Why? Because your level of consciousness and connectedness to the Creator. And there is a people that believes that there is another generation after us coming. This is what World of Akiblan is all about. It's what World of Akiblan is all. And if you missed it, and you are an alumni and you missed it, it's still here. We ain't go nowhere. We have been fine tuning everything that we have been doing so that we could leave the world something worth leaving rather than what we've been given it. We seek a new generation. We seek another generation. This is why we pour into our kids the best of who we are. The best of who we are. Because we seek another generation. I had a conversation with my daughter, and this is going to go live inside another term. Everything about World of Akibaland came out of the generation that she was when she was little. And I had a little kid generation, and all her friends was there, and we were talking, and they came up with the concept, Daddy, Brother Ajay, what would it be like for all African kids to be able to connect to each other? We got to use what's the internet. Hence, World of Akibaland. And then we change it from Akibaland Academy to World of Akibaland to include black kids all over. World of Akibaland. Why? Because there's another generation coming. Herself, she said, Daddy, for all those kids who was a part of our community who listened, she said, I look at them. And she named, not Jenga, she named your name, Jing. She named your name, Olu. She named your name, Ade. She named your name, Tanu. She named your name, Zalika. She was looking at you guys as y'all were growing up. And she kept saying to me, I want to be like the cool kids. She calls y'all the cool kids because she watched y'all grow up in the understanding of who you are. And now she's watching you pour back into the community. Beautiful. It's beautiful of what y'all are doing. And so there's an older generation, a generation who's seasoned, my salt and pepper, who believes that the higher consciousness is about to break through. And so this particular conversation today for Alkebulan Inspirational Sunday is going to talk about it's called a theological virtues. Cardinal theological virtues. These means that these are things that are absolutely mandatory to reach, and these are simple to reach higher consciousness. What? Yeah, there's just three things. Now there are ways to access these three things, but it's only three things when you're trying to get to a higher level of consciousness. And we're going to start off by breaking them down, all three of them first, and then we'll break them down one by one so that you can understand what you need to do to get to this state. Or if you're a parent, or you're old enough and you pregnant, and you having kids, or you're thinking about it, you know what I'm saying? You thinking about it? Be a parent. If you're a teenager and you are a mentor or you're an older brother and sister, because this has to happen to get you to a higher sense of consciousness and then help someone else get to a higher sense of consciousness. If you're a grandparent and you see, oh man, I didn't do it for my children because I wasn't clear. I'm clear now. And now you're a grandparent. You have another opportunity to grandparent a generation to a higher sense of consciousness. I was told that technology is only good when you put it to use. We have World of Alkebulan as a purpose, so we give technology a purpose on bringing what? A higher sense of consciousness, more than just entertainment. And so to get to that higher sense of consciousness, three things. Three virtues that you need. Hope, faith, love. Now, if you take a look at African history and African American history and African diasporic history, and when we say diasporic, that means Africans everywhere. It's not just the motherland, it's not just the United States, it's Africans all over the place. When European society wanted to grow civilizations as large as Africa, let's get this. They saw Africa and got jealous. And so they came in, they didn't come in hope, they didn't come with faith, they didn't come with love, they came with war. And they brought war to a great people and said, we're going to bring them down and take their knowledge and then take them as labor and build for the sake of European culture. Now, since those moments, since those days, and that was when Greece and Rome was infiltrating Egypt or Kemet and Nubia. And once they got Kemet and Nubia, they came down and captured the whole continent. They brought war to a people who had hope, faith, and love, right? So to get back to that state of connectedness to the Creator, where we are building things out of love, out of our understanding and our hope and faith in God, where we are going to do great things and we see the God in each other and the God of our hands, meaning that everything that we create is of a divine nature to serve humanity. That's the type of people we were. That's how you said, well, how could they come and take? Because we understood that everything was divine, and if they need, we'll give. And so there was a lot of trade going on. There's a lot of trade going on from Africa and Europeans, a lot of trade, and we were giving. But when you don't have nothing, you want to take it. That's Eurocentric society. It's very rare that you see a country that lives from the space of hope, faith, and love. African society, those empires that was so large and lasted so long. The United States is an infant compared to the length of time African culture stood and in greatness. Because everything that we live in modern times today comes out of understanding of our hope, faith, and love with the Creator and each other and the land, that relationship we talk about. So we're going to take a look. The first virtue, we're going to take a look at hope. And you look at the picture. Do you ever think that a plant can grow out of a cement? So when the plant starts growing and it's hitting that top, I got to break through. And it doesn't stop growing because there's still soil on there. There's still, see the crack, there's still light that hits that little piece of dirt. Rain still comes down and seeps in. Hope is breakthrough. Breakthrough in so situations where you is let me get it. Hope is living with pure expectations. It's not doubting anything. It's living in pure expectations. It's a part of who we are to live in that once we are a people, we live in the pure expectation that God will help change whatever situations we in. He'll be able to, she will be able to work through us. The Almighty Creator is not a man. The Almighty Creator is not a woman, but it has attributes of man and woman. That's how we are created in His image. And so we expect. Now, I expect God to work through me on a regular basis. As long as I continue to surrender who the Creator has me to be and surrender to the atmospheres. Now, a lot of people are talking about these ancestral downloads. People are expecting information from on high to disseminate. And you're giving instructions on what you're supposed to do when you feel it. Now, there's a thing about expectations. It's not any expectations, but you got to be able to connect or hang on to positive expectations. What? Not negative, because what you expect will manifest. If you expect negative, you're going to get negative. But if you expect positive, what do you get? You're going to get positive. Because you're going to be able, you'll live the things, you'll do the things necessary to manifest that expectation. You go at it a little bit harder. There's a level of passion that hits you, that drive when you know I can do this, or you expect something great. You get up happy when it's your birthday. Why? Because you expect to be celebrated. It's my birthday. And you make sure today's my birthday. Today's my birthday. You tell everybody. You're expecting a beautiful experience. And to be able to wake up on a daily basis to expect a beautiful experience. And so there's not just a hope for you, right? What would it be? You would have to increase your level of thinking when it comes to who is expecting. I'm going to sit down and tell you it doesn't matter where black people are. The entire African diaspora is in a deeper expectation in these moments, in these times, in these days. You got African nations declaring independence from Eurocentric control and power, not even declaring it, claiming it, pushing them out and saying, we are a people of God. We are unto God the same way you are. We don't need your guidance. We need God's guidance. And so African nations are reclaiming their identity in the Creator. Why? Because they expect more of themselves. They expect God to give them wisdom, knowledge, understanding to do what? Feed, clothe, and house them their own selves. To be able to have self-determination. They're expecting it now. And so us as a people, the world over, are expecting something different. To live in high expectations. I knew when there was a lesson when this lesson of expectation was being taught, and the power of expectations, because the more you think about something, the more it's going to come true. Why? Because if you think this is going to happen, you're going to do the things that make it happen. And so there's a motto: be what you seek. That I have. I do this. Be the love you seek, till the love you seek seeks you. Ain't that something? And I believe that as much as I seek to see black people unified, not just in my community, because man, my community needs unification. We got people breaking. I seen some psychological sickness going on in our youth, in our alums, in our adults, where they fabricate reality the way it's never been fabricated before. And you can't argue with a sickness. You just can't. You just let the sickness, and you have an expectation that one of these days that there's going to be something that happens that changes that illness. Because last time we were speaking about mental wellness, mental fitness. Hope is a part of feeding that mental fitness. Then we have faith. What? Faith. Now, there's something greater than faith, right? That is believing things that aren't as though they are. It's happening. It's an expectation. It's a faith. Yeah, I ain't gonna worry about it. It's done. It's a done deal. And in an African people, the deeper it's called that knowing God, knowing the harmony, knowing the connection, knowing the relationship, and functioning from that knowing. I know that every Sunday morning I wake up, God is going to give me a lesson to teach. And when I sit down and I go and I say a meditation, that prayer, I'm in knowing that before Sunday morning hits, boom, and I don't have to this for me, I don't have to pre-do this. Sometimes it looks like, wow, he's been studying. Sometimes, and I tell you, I know when it's my knowing, it's my expectations that my ancestors will continue to open because I tell them that I'm a vessel for you to use through me. Come through me. Whatever knowledge and wisdom, let's go. And whatever lesson I'm supposed to be teaching at the time, let's go. I live in a knowing that it'll never fail. I remember one time telling Walamu Bakiba, brother, there's always a lesson in here. There's always a lesson in here. Why? Because my faith that I surrender to the Creator, and if God will always work through me or through someone else. If I'm not here and World of Alkebulan is handed to somebody else, there is a faith that God is working with us, for us, through us. That's it. And we come from a people that function from that faith. You cannot find in our history where faith or the knowing of God doesn't exist. That's why in African culture, everything has a sacred name. We don't, no disrespect. If you listen, Mercedes, I don't know nobody named Mercedes, but I know people name their kids Mercedes. People have named their kids Porsche, Lexus. What? No connection to God, but no, it's the God they serve. Their God is a car. Their God is a car. But to sit down and say, Ajay, messenger from God, a prophet. When I got my name, they knew who I was. I didn't know this was. My mama was like, that was you at birth. Never knew. My grandmother would say there's a spirit on this boy. We live in a knowing. And so you can date back to African culture and African history when you take a look at those classes. I'm gonna be posting those classes on the World of Alkebulan page, so you can always have access to them. Right? And I haven't done that because we were moving so fast, I couldn't store and lay paper. But we're gonna change that. But knowing God is knowing your connection, knowing your power, knowing your, and it's not just, and again, you got to be careful of what God do you know about, not the selfishness. That selfishness can be God because we can claim idol gods. But when we talk about God, we're talking about the creator of all things, creator of the universe. There's only but one higher power, and everything else is under that higher power. So you want to always be sure that your main focus is on that which is a higher power. Because in that space, when the guy says, let us create them in our image, he was talking to other levels of consciousness that he created, other divine consciousness that she created. And the creator said, we're going to create man, as in mankind. And we're going to create two of them, one male, one female. And so the creator gave you the concept of being a co-creator. Your dominion is on earth. Your dominion, he created you to control the events here. And the only way God can affect life here is if you allow the creator and the ancestors to work through you. What? Yes. The dominion on earth is ours. Period. We can speak to things in power and authority and watch it change. African culture, this is the thing. Again, there's a black youth. The change the world is waiting for is coming, because it's going to come from you, because we have centuries of pouring back into our youth so that they can understand who they are in the eyes of the creator. And then we're going to watch their intuition, their imagination, the dreams, everything that they can create. We're going to watch the development of a building of a whole new world. because we're not out here for vengeance. We're not out here for war. We're out here to build and experience life at its fullest as a people. Mm. And that's exactly where we come from. Now, of course, there are three virtues, and the most powerful one is that love. But when you take a look at the reality that is the Creator, the reality of God, the reality of the Most High, reality of that most highest consciousness level ever, which is the Creator, and we are all subparticles of that being. And you look at how harmony of creation functions. We can't live without trees. Trees can't live without us. Water is here, and we are water. We need water to live. Mm. You see, the ecosystem, certain animals need other animals to eat and live. It's a balance of love. Whether it looks how it looks, it's a balance of love. The cycle of water continues. The only thing that can destroy the environment in which we live in is us. If we live in a state that does not exist in love. And in love is the most powerful experience you could ever have. And so what we always try to do is tell you, you got to love. And there are different levels, engages in love. It's virtual. You have to have it for the higher consciousness. Without it, we're not getting there. And so we watch, if you look at African history and African American history, and you look at the struggles that Black people went through. Let's do that. When you take a look at the history of a people that have been in turmoil for a long time, we have fought against it for the sake of love, not just for us to be able to have a better life, for those who came after. There's a love that we've had as a people for the next generation. And as this level of wokeness develops, as this level of consciousness develops, as we celebrate our 69 years of reconnecting Black people to the love of their history, real history, African history, African American history, and African diasporic history, means Black folk all over. You would develop a love for our culture. And I don't know if y'all see it coming. If y'all can see it coming, but we are embracing even more. And I look at parents and I always tell them, how much are you teaching this to your children? Because if a kid becomes, by 5, a kid is endowed with an African love of who they are. If you can do that, Europeans say if you give me a kid by the age of 5, if you put them in a Catholic church, they will be Catholic for the rest of their life. Can you say that for a child? If you have a house full of African spirituality, culture, history, by the age of 5, it should be rooted in them. And I see families even more and more and more pouring that, talking about Black excellence, Black genius, and connecting it. And that's the thing, connecting it to the journey of an African people. That's that culture and history. You also have to develop a love for tradition, mm. accepting who you are and whose you are. It's a pride that you can't shake, right? So that's language, that's food, that's dance, everything about it. When you're dealing with your heritage, and it's rituals, and we're coming up with new rituals because of the sciences that we're learning. And Europeans are like, oh, let's take that. And so having these rites of passages, these journeys, these prayer processes, it's all African. Look at how the world embraced what you brought to it. And we're watching now a new generation. We're saying a new generation is here. Another thing that you have to begin to love is how God made you. Melanin got him jealous. Now, I'm going to say this. Melanin is not magic because it's a good phrase. Melanin is magic because it's literally proven by science and in your DNA. That's the part that they can't shake now because we have so much information given to us. It is a part of who we are. And so there is, with all the illnesses of the world, what the world is looking for is that generation of Black youth who are endowed with hope, endowed with culture, endowed with love, connecting to their history, connecting to their culture, their tradition, their ways, connected to each other, being able to see the love of God in ourselves and in other people. And forgive me if the pictures are off, but this is what the world has been waiting for. If you want to improve the world, the change that the world is waiting for is you. There is nothing greater because we pour so much hope and love. See, we know that we don't live we live in a society that don't like us. And so in order to create an environment of love, we got to give you those three things. An environment that gives us a best opportunity of full life. We got to give you those three things. We got to give you hope. We got to give you a hope that the expectations of your life should be greater. A hope that what God and our ancestors are doing on the spiritual side is going to work through you and you're going to create something wonderful. A faith or a knowing that there, once we connect as a people, there is nothing that we can't accomplish. There is nothing that we can't produce. There is nothing that we can't do. Self-determination is in our grasp. The world, Black youth is the change the world has been waiting for. Why? Because in our journey, we found out how spiritual powerful we are to overcome the things that were put upon us. I can sit down and say that God is going to sit down and be like, what took you so long? I knew you can do it. I knew you can do it. Once you surrender to the Creator, giving God all your heart, mind, soul, and your strength, and your brother, and loving your brother as thyself, seeing God in everything, loving us all the way through that journey, never letting go anything that got your superpower. That's your superpower, that melanin magic of what God produced in you, loving it all and being able to attack the world in the understanding of our greatness. This is what our 69 years have been about. And this is what the next 69 years are going to be about. Creating a generation of Black youth that will walk out in this world and say, I'm going to be the change that every people need. But I'm going to make sure my people feel it, see it first, and we will be the example of the rest of the world to see. Man, I believe in the world of Alkebulan. Man, I believe in the PAOCC. Man, I believe in God's ability to work through us as a people to change our circumstance. There is nothing more sacred than being a people, than the liberation of our people in our minds, in our bodies, in our spirits. And for us to get to that point where we can do for ourselves in the nations that we live in. Because ain't nobody leaving America, but we can make America better. Ain't nobody leaving Brazil because they can make Brazil better. Ain't nobody left Ghana and they're making Ghana better. We Black in India. Ah, you can get rid of the slums in India. You see Jamaica push the Queen out. Better. We are the change the world is waiting for. And I sit down and say, let go. Let God. Embrace everything about who you were created to be. He gave us a culture. He gave us a heritage. He gave us a rich history. There is nobody like the Creator. Every other people have a love for who they are in life. And when we get there, when we get on that level, because there's a love coming in a generation that won't quit. And what we contribute to the world over is going to be nothing but pure magic, melanin magic, yet again. And with that being said, next Sunday, we have Sister Camila preaching. And so World of Alkebulan is going to be in the building with Sister Camila, and we're going to support her. I'm going to put all the cameras in there, and we coming because this sister, this young sister, I think she's 13 years old, 14 years old at Spelman. She coming home. That's the level of black excellence that, and I'm gonna stream this. That's baby girl for real. And so I'm gonna go set all my equipment up and make sure that we alive that day. So let's get it. Uh, we're gonna see the rise of the African. We're gonna see the future next week. I see the future now. The future's in you. I want you to go to the mirror, homework, and I need you to see the future in yourself as well. And then after you see the future in yourself, I need you to go and see the future of God in everyone that looks like you. And watch the things around you develop and change. Watch how your mental fitness increases. Embracing the wrong God could be alcohol, could be drugs, could be ignorance. I seen some ignorance. I heard some ignorance. Ignorance is what killed us. Not a bullet. You can't kill us. Bullet. Ignorance. And that's how you keep a people down. But when you embrace who we are as a people, starting with our history, culture, all that, everything that we talked about, and you take those three virtues, hope, faith, love, when you grab that, you'll find yourself being limitless, and you will witness the rise of the African. With that,